Burt, Steeler fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Scho Bro Show. This is Steel Curtain Network editor Dave Schofield coming at you Tuesday night, a little bit after 9 p.m. 53-man roster's done, getting ready for the regular season. Where else would you rather be as a Steelers fan? And with me, as always, except when he's not, is my big brother Rich, Big Bro Scho. How are you doing this lovely evening? I'm worried that you are frozen. I don't know if you're really frozen or if you're just faking me out. So I'm going to assume that Big Bro Scho. Oh, and now he's gone. So that meant he was frozen. I thought he was Big Brothers. I just figured he was messing around with me. So I'm sure Rich will be back here real quick. Sometimes that happens when we go to start a show. Something glitches on that end. But hopefully I'll get him back soon. But lots to talk about tonight, so we got to get Rich back in here because to me, it's now gotten real season because when the team goes down to their 53-man roster, it's gotten real. So we're going to break it down a little bit. I already did the Breaking News podcast with Brian Anthony Davis. That one's out there for you all to take in whenever, if you didn't already catch that, that we did that one earlier just to go over the roster. So I'm not just going to be going over the roster. We're going to ask some questions. I keep saying we because I'm assuming that Rich is going to make it back here. That we're going to be asking some questions about what's next because this might be the 53-man roster. There is no way this is going to be the 53-man roster come not this Saturday, but the following Saturday at 4 p.m. when you can make any kind of changes and whatnot going on there. So that's just that's the reality of it. And I think as we go through, I'm kind of not wanting to say and do too much because I really want to get Rich's take on everything here. So kind of waiting for that to come back. There's a lot of things that are possible. There's a lot of potential things of how things are going to work. Now, before we get into that too much, I want to explain that players that were released from any NFL team since last Thursday, I'm pretty sure Thursday, because that's when the Steelers played their preseason game. They were the first one of week 3. Any players that have been released since then, they are all part of the same waiver period, and that teams have until noon tomorrow, Wednesday, to make their waiver claim of any player that they want. And the waiver, for those who are wondering, the waiver priority, it's based on last year's record. So it's basically draft order, taking out any kind of trades that were in there. Roughly it was like this past year's draft order. That's the choice that teams are going to have for players on waivers. Now, players on waivers are only, hold on, I think I got him. Are you back, bro?
You got me.
All right.
Yeah,
Sorry if
you started the.
And sorry if you had to wait. I started the music and you disappeared or you froze. I thought you were messing with me. People in the live chat can have my back with that. I honestly thought you were messing with me a little bit.
You started the music. It played a couple of notes and all of a sudden it stopped on my end and you were frozen. And all of a sudden I got a message that said I had no internet connection.
Okay.
So I go in, can't find an internet connection.
Oh.
My phone was hooked up, so I had to restart the computer. So
gotcha. So
sorry about that.
So I don't know how long you were waiting to get in. It doesn't do it the same way whenever we're not live. That was something I just learned of how it works whenever somebody is waiting to come on the show. But I was in the middle of explaining something, so I'm going to finish it real quick. I was talking about waivers. So it's all non-vested veterans that are susceptible to waivers. So that means less than 4 accrued NFL seasons. Basically, any player on a rookie contract, if they get released, they have to go through waivers. Vested veterans do not. That's why you saw some different classifications as to whether or not it was like the contract terminated or things like that. So players that have more than 4 years in, they don't get claimed. They could sign with anybody. They could be talking to anybody they want to now. And some of those could even be ones that have a wink, wink, nudge, nudge deal even with the Steelers. That used to be something teams had to do more. And honestly, I think the Steelers did it again this year, that we're going to get into that a little bit. So, Rich, since I finally have you back now, what was your initial impressions when you first saw the Steelers' 53-man roster?
Really, the only thing interesting when it actually came out was, 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. 4 quarterbacks, definitely one.
There was another one.
What was another one?
Only 4 safeties.
3.
3 safeties, sorry.
Now, if you count Jalen Ramsey as a safety
Right.
as well, then it's 4. So, yes. So that's the iffy thing. And that's why the Steelers didn't break it up into safeties and corners. They just said defensive backs. And I think that's part of the reason that they did that. But I'm going to throw another one in there. I was surprised. Like I said, they only kept 8 defensive backs. And usually they keep a minimum of 9 and typically 10. And they kept 8 defensive linemen. That's a lot.
Yes, it is.
Especially when most of the time you're only going to have 2 of them on the field.
Yeah.
That's a lot. But part of that, I think, is because of Derek Harmon not being available early on. So we talked about it a little bit. I wanted to mention the whole thing with the waivers. So there could be players out there that they don't have to answer any calls from other teams or anything like that. Then you've got other players, like a prime example of a player that has to go through waivers is like a Beanie Bishop. Even though he's with the Steelers and played all last year, he's still not a vested veteran. He has to go through waivers. Any NFL team can claim him. So, Rich, we're going to kind of, in case people didn't catch the earlier, live breaking news show or anything, we'll remind everyone quickly of these position groups. But really what we're going to talk about is what's next. Do we expect the Steelers to make any changes at this position group between now and week 1? All right, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll start with the first one, the easy one. I'm going in the order that I had them in my article at steelcurtnetwork.com. Quarterback. Do you see any way that the Steelers have 4 quarterbacks on their roster by the time we actually get to week 1?
No. They will not.
Okay, so what do you think?
What do I think? What?
What do you think is going to happen?
I would imagine we may see Will Howard to IR initially. This is what I'd do if I was the Steelers. I'd roll the dice. I'd put Will Howard on IR at least for a few weeks, and see if in the first couple weeks of the season, team comes up needing another quarterback.
Yeah.
Then you have the ability to probably trade either Mason Rudolph or Skylar Thompson, and then bring Will Howard off of IR.
I don't think they're going to trade Mason Rudolph. I really don't. I think it's more about Skylar Thompson more than anything.
Probably,
So,
but
yeah.
with Con, I don't rule anything out.
Yeah. Okay. We have a question, and because that you brought up IR, I was going to talk about this. Yep. Then we actually got the question on in the live chat, which covers our faces right now. This is from John S., and I might have to bring it up more than one time because I ran out of time. I'm confused about IR, I think. I thought the 2 IR spots with bring it back up. With designated to return were for players you wanted back. They have one open. Why not put Will Howard on there? If they don't think he returns, why not put him on season-ending IR? That's a great question, and I think I have the answer to it. Because I do want to also say that good old Jerry Dulac from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, he reported earlier today before the cutdowns that the Steelers plan on putting Will Howard on IR. The only question is when they're going to do it. And you're like, well, why not just do it when you have 2 spots and you've only used 1? So just so everyone knows, the 1 spot they used designated to return is for Corey Trice. They did that one. I think I know why, Rich. Okay? This is hear me out, all right? Last year, the Steelers put 2 players on that IR designated to return. They did 2 to start. Do you remember who they were?
I don't.
Okay. They were Jeremiah Moon
Okay.
and Dylan Cook.
Okay.
Those were the 2. They had other players that they put on season-ending IR, like Ryan Watts ended up being one of them. I can't remember what you can do at the very beginning, where you don't have to. You can put them on IR, but not have them designated to return. So this is my thought. Jeremiah Moon, he came back and then played the rest of the season. Dylan Cook came back. They opened up his 21-day window. Do you remember what happened?
No.
They cut him. At the end of the 21 days, they cut him. And they put him on the practice squad.
Okay.
But he counted as one of their 8 spots. Like right now, Corey Trice counts as one of the 8 designated to return spots. And I think the Steelers might have, when they brought people back late last year, who was it? Logan Lee, Roman Wilson, with a couple.
And Cole Holcomb.
Well, Cole Holcomb, but that was coming off a pup, so that didn't count as one of
That's
the
true.
8.
That wasn't right.
Yeah, that was coming off a pup, so that wasn't one of the 8. That was something completely different. But those 2 came back. They used a lot of their 8 last year, if not all of them, if I'd have to go back and look through. So to me, the Steelers are like, we wasted one on Dylan Cook. Let's not actually put someone on the IR designated to return unless we know they're going to come back for sure. Because think of this. If a player tomorrow goes on IR, you don't have to designate them to return. They just potentially can be whenever you choose.
Right.
So if the Steelers, what they might do is they could say, we don't know if we're going to bring Will Howard back this year because of that finger. Let's not designate one of the spots for him. Let's wait it. Let's cut one of our veteran guys and say, hey, we want to bring you back, and leave him on here for a day. And then when we put him on IR, he doesn't count as one of those 8 until you actually designate him to come back, which you could do after 4 weeks, but you could do at any point after those 4 weeks. You could choose to do it in November. You could choose to do it in December. You could open the window with 3 weeks left in the season, and then I actually think when you get to the playoffs, you're allowed more to do stuff there, if I recall correctly. So that might have just been a whole idea of, hey, if we do the 24-hour, it's actually 20-hour thing, because I think it's noon tomorrow when they can do that, that they're not locked into one of your designated to return spots. I think that's a little bit of an overreaction. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I think that's what they were doing. And honestly, there's another player that I think is true for this too.
Why use that spot? Why lock yourself into that spot if you can wait a day and not be locked in?
If you have a veteran who's willing to say, hey, you could cut me, I'll come right back to you tomorrow. Then David Poe, I think he's right. He said 2 more for playoffs. Yeah, I couldn't remember if they went 2 or if they went even more. Oh, because I know what I'm also confusing is in the playoffs when you get more times you can bring players up from the practice squad. Yeah. I sometimes get those rules mixed up with what the numbers are. So that's what I think is going to happen with Will Howard. I think he goes on the IR tomorrow. Or if the Steelers work out a trade with Skylar Thompson in the next several days, where the Steelers think they might be able to, they might not make that move to IR right away and see if they do the trade.
Right.
But they're only going to do that. I mean, remember when the Steelers kept 2 punters a couple years ago, trying to trade one of them, and then ultimately had to release them? Yeah, it could be something similar to that. I agree. Have we covered that well enough?
I think so.
Yes. So I think it's either going to be Rodgers, Rudolph, Thompson with Howard on IR, or it's going to be Rodgers, Rudolph, and they won't put Howard on IR, even if they don't dress him early on because he's still injured, if they trade Skylar Thompson or something like that. So that's part of what I think could happen.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on. Running back. They only kept 3, the same 3 I had projected for them all offseason since Jeff and I started doing our projections. Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, Caleb Johnson.
Yep.
What do you foresee with the Steelers there? Anything?
Nothing.
Nothing. I agree.
I think the practice squad.
I think they put at least 2 running backs on the practice squad. If I get my wish, it's going to be Lou Nichols and Trey Sermon because I liked both of those guys.
Yep. Same here. And put them on the practice squad because you just never know when you might need that depth.
I mean, because honestly, if you didn't have the whole call up from the practice squad, they might even have kept a 4th running back. That's kind of what the Steelers look at that here. All right. So I think we're good there. Wide receiver. They were the exact 5 I expected them to be late in the season because it got to a point where you realize it's not going to be Bobby Trees. So it's DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, Ben Skoranek. Any surprises or anything you think is going to happen there?
To me, that it wasn't big surprise, but I'm still not sure they're done with that room.
I agree. And honestly, I think they could add to that room and not even have to get rid of one of those guys.
Yeah.
Unless they want to put them on IR because both Calvin Austin and Ben Skoranek were dealing with injury towards the end. So, yeah. So, it is what it is. That I'm not going to be shocked if they're not done there. So, yeah. So, I think that would be pretty cool. Anything else you want to say about wide receiver?
Nope.
Tight end. Rolling through it. You've got Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, Darnell Washington, Connor Hayward. I'm throwing him at the tight ends, even though the Steelers listed him as the fullback, because honestly, they kind of look at those things almost the same way.
They do. But if you really look at Connor Hayward and some of the things he can do, he does really fit that H-back role.
H-back is really what it is. Yeah, which you could call a tight end or you could call a running back or a fullback. You could call him any of those things. Some people were surprised by Connor Hayward. And I said I'll say it again. I said it in the breaking news one. If you were surprised by that, then you just don't get what the Steelers are doing. 1. And 2, you really don't understand Connor Hayward. Seriously, I can't believe the number of people who unless they are excellent trollers, they honestly think that Connor Hayward is just on the team because of Cam. Yeah. That's not the case. I mean, what solidifies him more than anything is his special teams. But he's still a good option for them that far down that depth chart.
Yeah, there are plenty of teams that would love to have him because he would be TE2.
Yeah. I said it on the Break News podcast. Roy Countryman has said he would be the second tight end on a lot of NFL teams. And for some reason, there are just some parts of Steelers Nation that just think that he doesn't offer anything. But he actually does. He actually does. So I do find that interesting. This is the group that I would have put Max Hurlman in, that I would have said I wouldn't have put him as a running back or a wide receiver. I think the Steelers had him listed as a running back on their website, but when they announced his release, I think they listed him as a wide receiver.
I think, yeah.
I'd call him a tight end because I'd call him an H-back.
Yeah.
I think that guy, if he clears waivers, he's got to be a practice squad dude for him. I think so. Because if anything happens to one of the tight ends, I think he's the guy you call up. I think both him and Galbraith are candidates for the practice squad. Anything else you think the Steelers are going to do here?
No, don't see any addition or subtraction in that room. It's where it needs to be. Ready for some '04 sets.
Yeah, I would love it. I really would. So, all right, let's finish up the offense here with the offensive line. They kept 9, which is that's kind of the magic number.
Yeah.
They've done 10 before. You can try to squeeze out 8, but if anyone's dealing with injury, then you got to pull someone from the practice squad because you've got to have 8 in order to dress 48 players. If you don't have an 8th offensive lineman, you don't get your 48th player, so you only get 46. But here we go. Broderick Jones, Isaac Sambailo, Zach Frazier, Mason McCormick, Troy Fautanu, the starters. No surprise there. Both of the Andersons, Spencer and Calvin, Ryan McCullum, and Andrews Pete. They did not keep Dylan Cook.
Yeah, Pete instead of Cook was a little bit of a surprise, but not huge.
To me, I thought Pete played well, especially the last 2 games. I thought but also the thing with me, I think Pete's a guy that probably doesn't get the helmet. What's that?
He's a pizza guy.
He's a pizza. Okay. I think Andrews Pete is a player he might be the one that doesn't get a helmet. Because I think you need McCullum for your backup center.
Yep.
I think you need Spencer Anderson because he's so versatile and he's your next best guy. And then Calvin Anderson, if he is healthy, he plays both tackle spots. You don't have a left tackle, really. I mean, if you had to put Pete there, you could, but honestly, Calvin Anderson would be better there. So to me, Pete might be the guy that doesn't get a helmet. Much like, to me, I think he's an upgrade of Max Sharping. I said that on the Breaking News podcast.
Yeah.
To me, the reason Dylan Cook didn't make it is because Calvin Anderson must be healthy enough to go. Because if that's not the case, you don't let Dylan Cook go out there to sign him back because he's got to clear waivers. You would have kept an extra offensive lineman, and then if you were trying to get Anderson to IR or anything. So anything. So do you see any kind of changes with the offensive line?
Probably no, I really don't.
I don't
think they're
either.
gonna go with it.
Yeah. So the only potential things that we could see going on, and of course we say this now and then they'll change a ton of stuff, is we don't think the Steelers are going to. This is for offense. We don't think the Steelers are going to go with 4 quarterbacks by the time week 1 rolls around, and we think that there's at least a possibility they could add another wide receiver, and they might not even have to shake one off of their roster.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, if there was an obvious offensive line upgrade out there that they could pick up, I think they would do it. I just don't know that there's one available. And I don't think they have to, but the Steelers, they'll upgrade anything they can if they can. All right. Well, let's go ahead and take our break now. So we'll come back and finish stuff off with the defense. Sound good?
Yep.
All right. If you're with us here live, we're not going anywhere. If you're with us here on the audio, we'll be back right after these messages.
Relax, don't worry, no rush, what's the hurry? Relax, don't worry, don't worry, relax. Relax, don't worry, no rush, what's the hurry? Relax, don't worry, don't worry.
All right, Rich, we've got to relax and don't worry. And honestly, when it comes to Steelers defense, especially the depth in the secondary, I can't say it's that easy to relax, but we'll get there of some things that will probably make us feel better. What do you think of 8 defensive linemen?
I thought that number was large.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Kind
yeah,
of like me.
black. Like hey, black.
Yeah. Y.A. Black. Hey, yeah. Okay, let me read the names just for everybody. Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, Derek Carman, Y.A. Black, Daniel Ekwale, Isaiah Loudermilk, Logan Lee, and the one that I'm never going to figure this out, but I'm going to try it again, is Sezi Otomewo is what I'm going to go with. I'm not going to say his name again But the last one I just said, that was the one that I didn't think they would keep, but I honestly thought he was playing pretty well in the preseason.
You know, the one there that I don't want to say surprised me today, but it surprised me this off season and everything is Loudermilk. I think he has looked much better this year than, it's like finally seeing some progression in his play.
There was one game I thought he looked terrible, and then another game I thought he looked good. I think the game he looked terrible was the one you were at a banquet.
Yep.
So that makes sense. But even that game when he looked terrible, do you know what he actually did? He was noticeable in special teams. It's not very often you get defensive linemen that you can count on in special teams. You don't get that many Orpheus Roys, right?
Yeah.
If you remember that from back in the late 90s. When you needed the wedge busters, well, now you don't have to worry about that. So, yeah, I know some people didn't think they'd keep Ekwale. I know Otemewo was a surprise. Some people didn't think they would keep Logan Lee, but you know what you're going to see here as a constant theme is
versatility.
You can say that. I'm going to say this. Omar Khan likes himself his own draft picks. If you think about it, the only player that I can remember, I'm going back, I'm trying to make sure I got them all. The only player drafted by Omar Khan that's not still with the team is because of a medical retirement in Ryan Watts. Am I right? I got to look that up.
Yeah, you'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
Because I'm not looking it up.
Yeah, I know. So that one's that's.
No, but
I mean, as long as you're counting like Corey Trice, who's on the IR and stuff.
Wasn't it Logan Lee that stepped into long snap when
Yes
got hurt?
Yep.
I mean, that's another reason keep him around because if you got a guy that can step in and do that, if something happens to Kuntz somewhere, then nice to have.
Yeah, and I will tell you that statement is correct as long as you're counting Corey Trice being on IR. That the only player drafted by Omar Khan that is no longer on the Steelers team is Ryan Watts, who did have to, retire for medical reasons. That's it. So they kept them all this year too, which we'll get to here soon. So yeah, to me, if the Steelers make a move at like wide receiver or something like that, you've got to cut a defensive lineman.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. That's that. I mean, my goodness, right now I'm looking at him like you might have to have two guys not have a helmet out of that. And still, my goodness, even three. Because sometimes they only keep 6. And they got 8. That's a lot. That's a lot. So I'll go ahead and ask you this. If the Steelers have to release one of those defensive linemen, which ones do you think it is?
Oh goodness!
I don't know. I don't.
If you put it to me, if you said no, you got to answer this. We can't end the show without you answering this. I would put it down to one of two guys. I would put it down probably to the guy with the name you can't say and
Otemewo. I don't know if I said that right.
Yep, and Loudermilk.
And Loudermilk. See, it might even be Ekwale
Maybe.
Ekwale, however you say it. Maybe he's another one too. But yeah, but I wouldn't be shocked if they continue to keep at least. I had the Steelers only keeping 6 on my next to last 53-man roster prediction, and I bumped it to 7 because of Derek Harmon maybe missing a couple games. So to me, that made sense. So he's going to be a guy that wouldn't get a helmet early on. But 8 still seems like a lot. 8 still seems like a lot. All right. Let's go ahead and we're going to do all the linebackers at once. Okay. Unless you have anything else you want to say about defensive line.
Nope.
Okay. All the linebackers at once. So the outside ones are Watt, Highsmith, Herbig, Sawyer. inside linebackers are Queen, Wilson, Holcomb, Malik Harrison, and Carson Bruner. The big question was going to be, is it Carson Bruner? Is it Mark Robinson? But when Mark Robinson was announced as being cut yesterday, technically he's put on waivers because he's going in his 4th year. That gave you the answer there. Because I'm like, that's what they're going to do. Especially when you also had like the Marvin Leal was announced as being as the Steelers wasn't like they announced it. It was that he was insiders said he was being released. By the time it got to where they were announcing the 53-man roster, you knew it was going to be Carson Bruner. So, any big surprises or any changes you see coming here?
Big surprises. It was hard to cut ties with Leal because honestly, I thought he'd been playing well.
Yes.
And whether you wanted to call him a linebacker or a defensive lineman, that in the end, I think that's why he gets cut.
He's a 4-3 defensive end. That's what he is. And honestly, I don't know who said it. Maybe it might have been Jim Wexell. I can't recall. Was surprised the Steelers couldn't move him to somebody, to a 4-3 team. I think he's going to get picked up. I mean, if not, Steelers should put him on the practice squad for sure if no one else picks him up.
Right.
But that one was a little bit. But it was. I didn't know that they were going to keep 5. Especially, he doesn't scream special teams ace as the last guy on the depth chart.
Yep.
So to me, if you were going to, that's why you keep 5 inside because that's what Carson Bruner is going to be around for. If he's on the field on defense, I said this before. It's not that it would be a problem necessarily, but it does mean that an awful lot of other stuff has gone wrong.
Yeah, because I like the other 4.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yes, I do too. So yeah. Matt Catt said yes, it was Wexel. I know I heard it on one of our podcasts. I couldn't remember if it was Wexel or if it was Roy Countryman. Honestly, that had said that about Leal. So. Thank you for confirmation there, Matt Catt, who is one of our very loyal commenter at SteelCurtainNetwork.com. All right, Rich, now let's get to the big one. Unless you have anything else to say about linebacker.
No, other than that group altogether, those 9 guys. Ooh, what a unit.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that I say. Look at inside linebacker like 3 or 4 years ago and look at it now.
3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 3 years ago was when Cole Holcomb was just coming in for the first time. Because this is his 3rd season.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, that year you thought was going to be a lot better, but
they had all those injuries.
Devastated it. So, just to see how strong that group is now is fantastic to see.
Yep.
And the Steelers have even been able to add behind, Watt and Highsmith. Now you're looking at having Herbig and Sawyer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I will be honest with you. Herbig's another sneaky one. See, the Steelers only kept 3 outside linebackers to start the year last year with Jeremiah Moon on IR, and they would bring one up from the practice squad. That's what they did early on in the season last year. If Herbig's hammy or quad or whatever it is isn't good, I think it's a hamstring. He's another guy that they could say. But to me, if that was the case, you knew he was going to come back. You should have used him as one of the 2. So that one still doesn't make sense that they would do that. Because that would be so obvious that he would only be out short term. And you would want him back. Which will be interesting about the other one. So when we get to the defensive backs, just want to remind everyone, Corey Trice went to IR designated to return. But he's also another one. Are you sure you want him on the roster when he comes back? Hopefully he's good. It was just so funny because he had just said in interviews this week he was going to be ready for week 1. And the Steelers are like, not so fast. All right, so here you go. Cornerbacks, Joey Porter Jr., Darius Slade, Jalen Ramsey, Brandon Eccles, Dante Kent, the 7th round draft pick, made it. And then safeties, Deshaun Elliott, Juan Thornhill, Miles Killebrew. I want to make some notes of players that I did not say. I did not say James Pierre. I did not say Beanie Bishop. I did not say Chuck Clark, and I did not say Sebastian Castro. If you were to tell me this morning that Chuck Clark wasn't making the roster, then I would have assumed that Sebastian Castro was.
Yeah.
Rich, you think there's a whole lot of moves coming here?
Well, when you look at what the Steelers have going on with defensive backs and safeties, they've got the ability to let this be kind of fluid. They were able to when they needed to do something somewhere else, knock down, because there's a chance you see some of these guys back.
I agree. And you can kind of cheat a little bit at safety because, I mean, if you're in base, technically I think Jalen Ramsey's your safety. Yeah. I think it's Ramsey. I mean, the way it started when they were in base last Thursday, Ramsey, Slay, and Porter were all three still out there during that first series.
Yes.
Even when they were in base. But Juan Thornhill didn't play in the game. I don't think that would have mattered. But so I think that's kind of what you're going with there. I'm with you. I think Chuck Clark is one of those veteran guys that they said, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're going to put some guys on IR. Don't move out of your apartment or hotel room or wherever it is you're staying right now. That's what I would say if I was.
Yeah, and
don't
honestly,
don't take a flight home.
I was going to say, I would imagine those conversations are had with some of those guys. Hey, we liked you, but we got some things we got to do with the roster to make this all work. The first question they should ask them is, do you want to be here?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think the Steelers do what they did if that wasn't the case.
Right. You say to that guy, look, do you want to be here? Good. Here's our plan. Boom.
Yeah.
Tell them what the plan is. And then execute.
Yes. So I think that could vary.
That's why tomorrow will be a little bit fun, because I expect to see one or two guys hit IR tomorrow and them to sign a couple guys back.
Because honestly, by the time I do the Steelers preview on Thursday, this is going to be completely different when it comes to these kind of issues, I think. So to me, Chuck Clark takes the place of one of your quarterbacks.
Yep.
Were you surprised by Dante Kent?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think he's the same as Will Howard, in my opinion.
Meaning?
He didn't play a single snap in the preseason because he's been hurt the whole time.
Yep.
But maybe the Steelers don't want to necessarily have to bring him back. They might choose to not bring him back all season, and therefore they don't want it to count as one of the 8.
Right.
So to me, if you're going to wait 24 hours, you could put guys on IR. The two that I would say would be Will Howard and Dante Kent. You put them on IR, and the reason you didn't use one of those spots was because you weren't sure if you would even bother this year.
Yep.
So I still would have been fine if they would have used one of them, but they didn't. But I don't see any way that they thought that Dante Kent, because here's the other thing. You look at the Steelers depth chart that they have at Steelers.com, and I'll be honest with you. This is what they did with the depth chart. They took out names. There are gaps in there. Like Roman Wilson is listed as the 3rd string wide receiver behind Calvin Austin as the 1 and nobody as the 2. They just took Robert Woods out. They just took his name out. Didn't even bump anybody forward. Okay? If you look at the nickel
component is the cut and paste component.
Exactly. If you look at the nickel, that's where they have Dante Kent listed. But not as the 2. They have nobody as the 2 because they took out Beanie Bishop. And they have Dante Kent as the 3.
Right.
So they don't have him as anything other than a nickel. If you're going to keep someone who was just a nickel, did you really think Dante Kent offered you more than Beanie Bishop? At least you saw Beanie Bishop in the preseason. I'm not saying they should have kept Beanie Bishop. I've been saying that since the last game, that it's like, you know what? It's hard to keep a third player a guy that would be your third nickel that doesn't play any other cornerback positions. Now Kent could also maybe be safety. I think that's the most obvious one of, hey, we want to get him on IR and we don't want him to count as a designated return. We want to be able to have him return if we need him, but we might just leave him there all year. I think that's like the poster child for exactly what you want to do. A 7th round draft pick that didn't play a snap in the preseason, and you're going to keep him over other guys. And to me, the guy that they bring back is James Pierre because of the special teams. And he's a vested veteran that you can just bring back to the same veteran salary benefit contract.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's the moves I anticipate in the secondary. Okay?
So you think hold on. Kent to IR. Pierre in to there. And Chuck Clark coming back, taking one of your quarterback spots.
Yes. Picking where I would put Howard to IR.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think it's, like I said, I don't think it's someone like Derek Harmon to IR or Nick Herbig to IR, because those are guys you would obviously want back, so you would have used one of your two. Right. It wouldn't have saved you anything to wait that other day. The only benefit of waiting a day is if it's a player that you don't even know that you want to bring back.
Right.
So, yeah, that's just me. So there's a number of players that I really want to see on the practice squad. There's a number of wide receivers. We already mentioned like Max Hurlman, Lou Nichols, Trey Sermon. I'd like to see Sebastian Castro. I really would like to see him get to the practice squad. So that'll be interesting. And I'd say we'll know that news tomorrow, but you want to know the truth? We might not. Because last year, the Steelers did not officially announce any of their practice squad until Thursday. I waited all day kept hitting refresh, waiting for the afternoon for the announce anybody to the practice squad, and they didn't. Doesn't mean they won't this year, but they didn't last year. That was crazy.
So in other words, I should send you that meme tomorrow?
Oh, the one of were you just refreshing and saying, "Come on"?
No, the one of Captain James Tiberius Kirk yelling, "Con!"
Yeah, like come on, just get it. Just that was some of the guys. That would be nice. So yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Anything else you want to say? Oh wait, specialists. You do have to admit. Now this news came out on yesterday, so that was kind of confusing. That the Steelers went with Corliss Waitman. And what's even more confusing was there was a report that the Saints inquired about trading for Waitman. I'd have thought if someone inquired about trading for him, they would have just traded him and kept Johnston. You ready?
Go for it.
Outside shot. Outside shot. All right, Cam. Johnston. Bill Burr, what do you want to say? Don't move out of your apartment. We're trying to squeeze. You're a vested veteran. You can sign anywhere you want. But if we cut you and keep Corliss, then we can maybe actually get something out of him in a trade, and then we bring you right back. I don't think it happens, but you have to at least admit it's a possibility.
Yep.
It looks like Christian Kuntz is good to go. He's the long snapper and boss. There was someone, as a Pitt fan, talking on I didn't comment because I didn't want to sound nasty, but talking in one of the articles today at SteelCareerNetwork.com about part of them deep down inside really wanted to see the Steelers cut Boz and keep Sauls because they were a Pitt fan. And I'm like, that is when you are too emotionally involved with somebody to make a rational decision. You do not cut the all-pro kicker from the previous year, which means they only give one of those. And so it was Boswell. He was the best kicker of the NFL. You don't cut the best kicker because somebody's younger. You just don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Okay. Not about the Steelers player, but about the fact that we're here in Riverside. We have a super chat, but
do we?
It did not show up over on on here, but I can see it on YouTube.
Yes, anytime we have that, and it won't show up here. We just have to read them. So
Okay.
I need you to tell me who it's from. How we're still
right.
working with Riverside to try to get these.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay. This is from at Steel Curtain 90, $5 into the tip jar. Thank you very
thank you.
much. Says with A-Rod on the Geritol tour, do you think it's too risky to trade Mason or Skyler?
I think it's too risky to trade Mason. People that are like, Skylar Thompson did so great, he should move to QB2. I'm not buying that. He did do a great job, I have to admit.
Yes.
To me, you are this. Jeff Hartman said it. The stock is not higher for Skylar Thompson right now. My thing is, if you have the opportunity, you sell. Because if you're going to have to get to your third quarterback anyway, kind of like 2019, it's going to be a rough go anyway, and you could always try to find somebody else out there if Will Howard still doesn't have the finger right to go.
Yeah.
Someone says, thank you, Afton. She says that Steel Curtain 90 is thanks, Mean Joe.
Well, thanks, Mean Joe.
That's good to know. Thanks, Mean Joe. So that's good stuff. So, yeah. That's how what do you think, Rich?
Yeah, I think you would look to trade. And I'm with you. You trade Thompson. That's probably who folks are going to come and look at. Look, he has started games in the league.
Even a playoff game.
Yep. But I'm not sure I would put him in front of Mason, Mason Rudolph. Teams are probably going to inquire about him because he is a QB3 and they feel they can get him a little cheaper. And the Steelers might be okay that they could give him a little cheaper than maybe what you could get for Mason Rudolph. It's part of the reason why I think they went ahead and held all four of them because they like what they see from all four.
Yeah. And you're not ready to shut the door on Will Howard.
No.
This was really about keeping Skylar Thompson. That's really what it was.
Yep, it was.
So I'm going to bring up something because I talked about this on the Breaking News podcast. And it skipped on me, so hold on. There we go. This is from Steve Stoneman. 5881 said, I think Boswell wanted Waitman for his holder. I brought that up that could have been, I mean, it's also, the left-footed punter could maybe confuse returners at times. But Chris Boswell had his best season as a kicker, and Corliss Waitman was his holder for 16 of the 17 games.
Yep.
17 of 18, including the postseason. There might be something to that.
Yeah, there might be.
Yeah. So, all right, Rich, we have something else we have to do before we get to our big question. And I thought we might do the 5 minutes of non-Steelers talk. To me, we're in the regular season now. So we're not going to do that. But we're going to talk about something that's Steelers related, but it's not exactly on the same topic here with everybody else. And that is this, the contest. The Steelers Survivor League, where last week I did the prize. I brought up what the prize was. It's the signed Alan Faneca mini helmet. I don't have it sitting next to me because I had to take it somewhere else to take pictures of it for the article, and I didn't put it back. I wanted to, but I forgot. So I don't have it with me right now. That's the prize. The contest is Survivor League. What it is it's through Yahoo. It is 100% free. All you need is a Yahoo ID. And the only restriction is you can only sign up once under a Yahoo ID. If we find out that you signed up multiple times under the same ID, you will be disqualified. So please don't do it. But if you have an ID and let's say your spouse has an ID and your child has an ID and stuff like that, you can sign them all. Even if you run them all, you can sign them up.
What are you talking about? I have 3 of them.
You have 3 of them. I have 2, but I only use 1. So the league, I have the league. It's set up and ready to go. The article, I don't know what time yet because I hadn't checked with Jeff. The article is ready to go out tomorrow for us to officially start the contest and for it to be signing up. I put it out to the staff at Steel Curtain Network because I'm trying to get all of the staff in the same contest. Some of them are dragging their feet, but we had a lot of stuff going on today with a lot of news, and it kind of got pushed back. So I reminded everyone again this evening to say, hey, get in there. Because for a while it was just Betts and I. But Daniel J's in there, Rich, you're in there, and I'm going to give people a hard time because Jeff's the one who said make sure I do that, and then he himself's not even in there. There will be a link that you can click on to go right to it whenever that article comes out. It's funny, Matt Cat says he lost his Yahoo ID 2 years ago. There will be a link in the article to you can just sign up for a Yahoo ID in order to do it. It's free there. We can have 100 people per league. If we fill it up, we'll go to another one. All you have to do, pick one team to win in week 1. If they win, you go to week 2. If they lose or tie, you're out. But once you pick that team, you can't pick that team again. If you pick the Steelers week 1, you can't pick them again the rest of the time. So it also gets to be a strategy as you go on that you might not just, but I'll be honest with you, sometimes you're like, oh, I want to save them for later, and then you lose. You're gone. You would have been better off not. This is what I'm going to do right now. For anyone who is live with us or anyone listening to this podcast where it's not out on the website, I'm giving you first access. I'm giving you first access. Obviously, I can't give you the link. I can't even put it in the live chat. It'll take it away. But what I can do is I can give you the ID number and the password. So all you have to do is go into Yahoo. If you're that ambitious to get into this first one, go to Yahoo, click on Survivor, say join a private league. They'll ask you for a group ID and a password. The group ID is this. Oh man, it doesn't work out the way I wanted it to. You know what? It does. It does work out the way I want it to. I just got to remember something. If you can just give me a second. Here is your league ID. You ready? Your league ID is this. Calvin Austin, Mason Rudolph, Ben Skoranek. Okay? 19-15. 19215. That's the number. So if you need some help, or I don't want to say that. I don't want to say a number in there. So it's Calvin Austin, Mason Rudolph, Ben Skoranek. That's the group ID. The password, it'll be the password for all of these we do. All lowercase, all one word, Steel Curtain. There you go. You can go in and sign up right now and get in the first league with the rest of the staff and make sure you get that, because the first league's always the most fun, I do have to admit. Not that you can't jump into the other ones, but just to see how you do against people like Jeff Hart. Everyone beats Brian Anthony Davis. If he gets in it, you'll be lucky to see him make a pick in week 1. And if he does and gets through, he won't do it in week 2. The one year's like, oh, I forgot. I'll have to do Monday Night Football. Nope. The deadline's at 1 o'clock on Sunday. You can't just throw in the Monday Night Football game. They won't let you do it. So there you go. Once again,
Right
group
now,
ID is
so far still just you, me, Betts, and Daniel J.
Yeah. Yep. So I just got to make sure I get that out there with the staff more. But that's 19215, password Steel Curtain. You can go ahead and jump in right now if you're listening. So I just wanted to do that to give you a nice little advantage here if you're listening to the Scho Bro Show. This is mainly the show that we do, or if we give updates on this show. And I give updates every week in an article at steelcurtainnetwork.com. So that'll be coming. There's some nice pictures of the signed mini helmet in the article that'll be out. I mean, I could probably check and see if we have if Jeff did got the scheduled the article yet or not. But that'll take me a little bit of time to do such a thing. So we'll see. All right, just make sure I still got you. Rich, it's time for the big question. Okay?
Sorry, I caught parts. I had to look back. No, you got to go back further to start. You got to go back further.
Okay, before I even do that one, was it from Matt Cat?
Yeah, it was from Matt Cat. He said, "Are you Ed?"
Steve?
He says, I'm Steve. It's a website thing. Apologies. Ed is a Steelers fan since the 70s.
Yes, and that's the thing, because he said, because good old Ed, every comment he says he's a true Steelers fan since the 70s. But then again, he really wanted to see Corey Trice and Beanie Bishop starting because he said Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey can't play football. So that tells you all you need to know about Ed. So Rich, here's our big question. We got to try to get through this. We're just about up against the hour, and I'm trying to be respectful to everybody's time. We don't have a game to give a score prediction.
Correct.
So this is what we're going to do. Now that we have a 53-man roster, I want a record prediction. I don't need anything about if they make the playoffs or not or what they do. If you bring that up now, I just want a numerical record prediction from you for the Steelers for 2025.
8-2. Oh wait, that doesn't add up right.
That doesn't add up right. Yeah, gotta make sure they add up 17. Okay.
All right, I'm going 11-6 for the Steelers.
Okay, 11-6. That's a good one. It's funny because yeah, it is crazy. I think I had 10-7 for the Steelers to start the year. I'll go ahead and say 10-7 still, but I am really tempted to move to that 11-6. I wouldn't even be shocked if the Steelers could, if the defense comes together like they should, and Aaron Rodgers is adequate, then we could be done. People, some of you might be new. Don't put yours out there yet. I haven't called for it because I'll bring everybody's up, but you got to wait for me to do it. You know, if Aaron Rodgers plays adequately, I could see them squeezing out more. But we will see. Oh, come on. You guys know better. I didn't ask for yours yet. You got to bring it up but not hit enter. You ready?
Don't press send.
Don't press send. But now you can because I put that out there. Okay?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah. See, here you go. You know what I will bring up? Steeler Chick 46. Too early, people.
She knows better.
Here we go. Because who's always ready to go but won't hit it yet? That's Afton Forward, who has it at 11-6. Okay, Matt Cap's already back in with it, ready to go. All right, he has 11-6. So and now I got to wait for people. Here we go. I think he might have been one that jumped the gun, but it's okay. You put it back in there, which is what you're supposed to do. Michael Hyrak. I don't recognize that name, so that's probably why I didn't know the rules. But that's okay. Good job putting it back in there. 14-3. Boy, Rich, wouldn't that be that would be a fun season, wouldn't it? Okay.
Yeah, that would be.
We got Ruben Stone. I got to figure out how to do these. Has 13-4. That would be a good one. Then we've got John Walter. Has the Steelers at 12-5, getting some underdog love. You gotta love it. NSMC 0-0-17.
There you go.
Steeler Chick 46 has the Steelers at 12-5. Yeah, see, Steve, he's another one that was new to the live chat. So, hold on, it keeps jumping on me. Steel Curtain 90, which is thanks Mean Joe, has 13-4. I'm going to start to learn the names eventually, hopefully. People can get me. Outside Steeler Fan, 10-7. So there we go. And I will bring this up. Afton says, welcome new people. This is a fun group. It really is. That our community in our live chat is great. You have to admit. So here you go.
Yes.
So here we got Steve Stoneman says 12-5. So don't know if we have a few more that we have might get some more stragglers. I'll keep an eye out and bring them in. But I will say
you got another one that'll pop here in a second.
Yep. Oh, because you've already seen it on YouTube, haven't you?
Yep.
So I will say, make sure you check out all our podcasts this week. We should have a pretty much a regular schedule as far as I know, because we got NSMC now giving the real one says actually though 11-6. I think if A-Rod does well, we can go 12-5. I agree. Here's another one. See, this is who I thought would have been thanks, Mean Joe. Because we got Mean Green, E30 has 12-5. And
Mean Green E30.
Okay, gotcha. You got to get the inflection right. And then CD9277 says 11-6. So, but yeah, I would say make sure, we'll have our podcast. Obviously, we're not going to have Tomlin press conferences. We won't have that until next Tuesday. We should have Mike Tomlin's first official press conference. This weekend, there won't be a last minute thoughts. That starts next weekend. We'll get one last unpopular opinion. I've been saving one to finish off everything with. So we'll have that. Make sure you check out steelcurtnetwork.com. We've got all kinds of good stuff. We'll have a tracker again tomorrow about rumors with the practice squad. That'll be another one. We had a tracker that was really good today with the rumors of who was getting cut. And then as soon as we get anything with the practice squad, we'll get that out there for you. We're getting breakdown of the 53-man roster, all kinds of good stuff at steelcurtainnetwork.com. Who knows? Maybe even by the end of the week, we might even get a worthless 2 cents. I'm just putting that out there to everybody.
You will be getting my worthless 2 cents
Woohoo!
on, as I'm going to call it, the with the preseason over and the regular season looming. It's a good time for my worthless 2 cents,
Excellent.
which are pretty much worthless.
There you go. Okay, so make sure you're checking that out. Rich, looks like we've got them all with all the records.
Yes, we do.
What do you have to close us out tonight?
Preseason games over. Gearing up for the regular season. Today was a big part of that, but as Dave and I talked about here tonight, it's not the end of it. I know it's not. There's still a couple moves to be made. But either way, I'm getting excited now that roster's out there. I'm telling you, Dave, my humble opinion, I think this particular makeup of this defense has the ability to be something special.
I agree.
Now we just have to put it out there on the field. I think that if we can get that special defense and we can get an above average offense, this could be a very, very dangerous team. But we will not know until we hit that regular season in a little over a week. Can't wait.
Relax. You gotta just chill out, man.
Can't wait.